the Kenya Airlines Pilots Association, that is the Kenya Airline, of course, the Kenya Airlines Pilot Association. Thank you so much, Pilot Mabura, for joining us here on the KTN News Center. So actually, it's not even 400 staff who will go home, but 650. Does this include pilots? And how many pilots will be affected? But just before you answer that question, let us first begin with the fact that tomorrow is a big day for Kenyan flights doing the international travels, KQ included. Are you ready as pilots to begin work tomorrow?
Thank you all, and thank you, KTN, for hosting us today. As she said, my name is Mwanda Mabura. I represent the Kenyan Airline Pilots Association. We represent all the pilots in Kenya, some even who fly in all over the world. We are their voice, from Wilson Airport to student pilots to anyone who's willing to be a pilot. So for the resumption of the flights, in all honesty, tomorrow we as pilots, on our own will, we are willing to fly. We have no problem with flying. We want to uplift the economy of Kenya. We want the tourists to be back. We are in full support of the government in nationalization, but we feel that there might be some challenges inside KQ because the layoffs of the 350 cabin crew, and these cabin crew are the only ones who are actually rated right now to fly. They are current. They have been flying the last 3 months, doing cargo flights. They are the ones who can legally be able to fly. So I don't know how they plan to pull that off.
Pilot Mabura, just before we delve into that main part of the conversation, so you're saying that you're ready to start work tomorrow, international flights, but you've also mentioned about the left that we'll be delving into later on. But about the safety measures that have been put in place for the cabin crew and the passengers, because I understand inside the plane there is no social distancing.
In all honesty, in the US and everywhere in the world, it's not only Kenya. It's not only Kenya. It's not possible. It's not profitable for people to sit in 1 meter spacing. It's too much. It's going to cost too much. The ticket will be too expensive. So I think the government, with the Ministry of Health and the doctors, they have been working 24 hours to make sure that all the procedures have been carried out up to international standards.
So as a pilot, you are sure, you are confident that your safety has been taken into consideration?
For us as a pilot, we on our part, us will play our part. We have no problem, we will play our part. It is them now. Let them prove to the world that they are ready. But for us, the pilots, we are ready. And the pilots who are current, the ones who have been flying, and the ones who have been rostered for the flight, they will come. And the pilots have no objection to that.
So KQ resumes international flights tomorrow amid concern when it comes to the planned layoff, 650, and that touches also the pilots. How many pilots will be affected by this?
Well, they had set a number of like 182, but realistically speaking, if you look at KQ's argument, the last 1 year, they've been saying that KQ has a shortage of more than 200 pilots. And the shortage of pilots in Kenya has been there for the last 10 years. If you look at the pilots' deficit leave days, on an average, every pilot in Kenya has not gone for leave for more than 100 days. That accounts to 40,000 days. So if you add the leave, and as people reach the age of 65, some will retire. And then we also have some pilots who volunteer to retire early, maybe to do other things. So we feel that Kenya Airways' argument of reducing the pilot numbers is totally uncalled for. It does not make business sense. And at the end of the day, if a pilot gets sick due to COVID-19, he's just like any other human being in Kenya and all over the world. You need the 2 weeks total isolation.
So
And the fact that you fly next to another pilot, even the other pilot will be subjected to the 2 weeks quarantine.
So let's talk about that open letter that the association wrote to President Uhuru Kenyatta. How confident are you that the president will come to the rescue of the KQ staff?
Firstly, let me reiterate the fact that I think, and the pilots union think, the president is very, very keen on Kenya Airways. This airline has been in existence since 1977. Even is a former president, his father, he saw this airline grow. It has gone through, it has helped the economy of Kenya, and that's what I'm here to speak about. The airline is very, very crucial. It is actually the backbone of Kenya's economy, because right now, the economic problems that we are facing in Kenya, everyone it's simply because the aircrafts are not flying.
All right.
And it's all the way, it trickles down all the way to the taxi drivers, the Uber drivers, the people who supply things in these hotels. They feel the effect right now. So
all right.
And the president is keen to make sure
all right.
that the airline succeeds.
So, Pilot Mabura, I'd like you to take us through the demonstration that you're supposed to take us through here on a KTN News Center, and also for the sake of our viewers to understand the sort of work that you do and what this layoff will also, how it will affect the airline industry, KQ.
Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen of Kenya, today, as the representative of the Pilots Union, we'd like to explain how Kenya Airways can revive itself, the opportunities that we have, and what we are not doing right. So the first thing I'll start with is explaining who fuels Kenya Airways. And what I mean is, this is a model aircraft. In order to understand how to revive Kenya Airways, we need to understand who flies Kenya Airways. If you look at the top part of an aircraft, this is a model of a 787. It has got seating capacity of over 245 passengers. Normally, in a flight from London or the US or all over the world, out of the 240 passengers, 170 are usually tourists. So the tourism sector, the hotel association, have marketed Kenya, and they have brought in these 170 passengers out of the 240. Then you usually find we have like 20 or 30 businessmen traveling from maybe going to West Africa, some are trading all over, going to Southern Africa or any part of the world. So we also have the business sector. We also have, Kenya is a hub for the UN, is a big hub for the UN. It's one of the major places where embassies in East and Central Africa are based, the biggest ones. We also have Kenyan tourists themselves who are traveling out, and we also have government and Kenyan businessmen in and out. And then when you look at the bottom part of an aircraft, the 787 has a capacity in the belly to carry 40,000 tons. Flights out of Nairobi to a place like Dubai, out of this belly of 40,000 tons, we usually carry even 39 tons of meat. Flights to London and Amsterdam, we carry a lot of horticulture. We carry flowers, vegetables, fruits, all sorts of things, fish. So now, understanding the fact that the people who have filled the top part of the aircraft and the ones who have filled the bottom part, these players have invested in Kenya. The tourism sector has invested heavily in Masai Mara, in the coastal region, Turkana, all the way to Kisumu and Mount Kenya. They have put in top dollar to attract the tourists in Kenya. So we feel, first of all, these people have a voice because they're the real investors. The KQ management cannot operate oblivious to that point. They cannot decide things, and yet they're not the ones who have decided which tourists are going to come. Then we also have this horticulture, the agribusiness people. Up to recently, they also requested the government, the bailout to the horticulture sector, the 4 billion. They do not even want it given to themselves. They can be able to operate by themselves. They want Kenya to be given that money so that KQ can reduce the cargo charges from 400 to 200 shillings per kilo. So when they send their goods in Europe and North America, they are competitive in pricing. So we feel also the horticulture sector, the agriculture, all these meat producers, all these from the fish producers from Kisumu, all the way to these meat producers, Maasai Land, in the coast, these people need to have a say.
All right, and Captain Mabura, we've run out of time as we wind up with your demonstration. So according to you, if all these sectors are involved in terms of decision-making within KQ, and if the consideration is put in place in terms of trade, how they transport their goods using KQ cargo flights, this will help in reviving the national carriers' profit. Exactly, because
at the end of the day, how do you tell a farmer or a business investor to shrink his hotel or shrink his farm? Because when you reduce the flights to London and to the US and to Dubai, you're telling the farmer, the poor farmer, to shrink his farm. How is he going to shrink his farm? The only voice that the government of Kenya wants to hear, and the people of Kenya, they want to hear growth, they want to hear employment of their youth, and they want to see this flag, Kenya, is flying all over the world. So just in less than a minute, kindly confirm to us whether you've had a sitting with KQ top management and the board just to give them some of these proposals you're talking to us about. We have been giving them proposals since time immemorial. But the problem is that they always say, you pilots, you just fly. Let us manage. But you see, they have been led to manage, and every year they declare loss after loss.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. That is Mwenda Mabura, Boeing 787 airline, a pilot representing the Kenya Airlines Pilots Association, talking to us about that impending, layoff by the KQ top management that will affect 650 employees of KQ. But he's also given some demonstration on how KQ can actually revive the airline's profit. My name is Brenda Zeda Radido. I bring it to an end for the first of KTN News Center. I see you again at 10 a.m. for more stories making the headlines. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.